To all Teleradio Bandido viewers and listeners,
you can now watch Teleradio Bandido on our new YouTube channel, RJAM News.
Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified when a new video gets uploaded. Don't miss out on our dynamite lineup. You are watching the multi-awarded Radio Bandido TV on Channel 224 Sky Cable and TV Plus boxes. Simulcast on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Informing, advising, and entertaining the Filipinos and OFWs around the world. Streaming live on www.facebook.com/DZRJ 8:10 a.m. or on YouTube, channel
RJAM News.
All right. So good evening to everyone who's there right now, who's tuned in. First, before we begin, I dedicate this episode to Ukraine and its people. So peace to all the people of the earth. It is with a heavy heart that I carry out the show tonight. So this, I think, it's not a laughing matter, diba? When we can easily see someone wage war, diba? Or invade another country, because it really hits home for us. So as we all know, Russia has carried out an invasion war. Hold on. So anyway, we're experiencing a little bit of no, not so good. Okay, what's that? Adjust ng aming technician. We're having some technical difficulties. So let's just hold on for a bit. Kamusta naman kayo? Ayan, so maayos na. Maraming salamat to Nell, our technician. Sa akin daw yung mabagal. O PLDT, alam nyo na yon. Bakit? I already rebooted. O, diba? So anyway, I hope that we can still I can still send out our message. So hold on, we'll try to go to the, sige, try natin to, ha, bago tayo mag-umpisa ng tuloy-tuloy. I will enter again. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, I dedicate our episode tonight to Ukraine and its people. Okay, peace to all the people of the earth. It is with a heavy heart that I carry on with the show tonight. So as we all know, Russia has carried out an invasion war into Ukraine, and I firmly stand by and believe that no man, especially in this day and age, can hold on. Sorry. Let me turn off the video. So how is it? I hope all is well. Let me just check, okay? How is it? How is it now? Sensya na po, sandali lang po. Laptop na ako. So let's proceed. So yun nga, as we all know, Russia's carried out an invasion war into Ukraine. And I firmly believe and stand by that no man has the right to carry out any harm, especially on a people. I stand with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and the Ukrainians and call on Prime Minister or President Putin to stop these violent attacks on Ukraine. Peace has no alternative. We can't choose and never ever choose violation and violence over it. So before we begin, I'd like to say first uh, prayer, a short prayer for Ukraine and its at President Zelensky. So, amen to the end of Russia's attack on Ukraine. Amen to Putin backing off. Amen to the support of peace by all people of Russia in the end of war against Ukraine. Amen to peace only between these two countries and the surrounding countries. Amen to peace only in every part of the world. So to the God who make all things certain, I plead for the everlasting peace in Ukraine and Russia and an end to the attacks no sooner than, no later than now or today. Amen. Pasabihin nyo demanding, di ba? If I believe in a big God, I believe that He can also stop this. So that's my prayer. The lives at stake, we have lost so many lives senselessly because of this, I think, inhumane decision, right, uh, of Russia to just go into Ukraine. So anyway, you are tuned in to Good, Great, Unstoppable, the Francine de las Alas show, and I'm Francine tonight. I'm serious tonight. So we are live stream from DZRJ 8:10 a.m. every Saturdays from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We are here. You can also catch us in your TV Plus box channel in your area, and also follow us at our YouTube channel. That's RJ News PH. Don't forget to also subscribe. So if you do that, maraming salamat po. So you know what, guys? In my 35 years of being an adult, kwentuhan ko lang kayo, di ba? Never have I seen a more volatile world than I had in the last especially in the last 5 years to 10 years, di ba? It's like the world, di ba? It's just waiting for the tipping point to arrive. World War I and World War II did not have internet nor the technologies that we have today. But they were both started with the seemingly insignificant, unrelated events. Then, escalating to the world wars we know today, diba, that we talk about of in our history classes. So imagine with the kind of technologies countries have at their behest, how much easier it is for wars to begin, as we see in the actions of Putin himself, diba? And mind you, remember, he has threatened the world serious consequences if we interfere. That's how easy it is. That's how volatile it is. And right now, he seemed to have us at our at his fingertips. So we are in this situation where even insignificant trigger can bring another world war. O, diba? Why? So I sincerely hope that we are not in that tipping point, that we are very far away from it, and that we are ruled by smart, intelligent leaders with high emotional quotient, diba? So a world war breaking out in the middle of pandemic is not only senseless and paralyzing, but I think the most insulting, arrogant actions against our maker, against our creator. So I hope truly that Putin and the whole of Russia permanently backs off from Ukraine within the next 12 hours at the latest, with no more collateral damages and no more zero death. But I pray that and as with the rest of the world, I pray that no other country, diba, follows in the footstep of Putin or Russia, and that no other country invades other countries. Especially this one goes for countries like China and North Korea, unfortunately. Diba? So I genuinely hope no other country acts as a trigger for any world wars, or a world war worldwide. So peace and security to us all, because that is just, I think, what we all deserve. It's diba? Simpleng simple a life na we don't have to worry if early in the morning that bombs or missiles will be exploding in our midst. So I hope really that the we are nowhere near the tipping point, diba, to any world war or to any escalation that could lead to that. So let us all pray that, diba, hindi lang ako. I was reading some news, especially on the appeal of President Zelensky, right? And you know what? I was really brought to tears. I can imagine how he feels, diba? So he had already asked the Ukrainians to fight for their freedom, and he had to promise them weapons. And the Ukrainian, diba, they are already ready to defend their country. So imagine, diba, being in the shoe of President Zelensky, and where a superpower country is about to invade you. You'd understand that why that is his position. It is both tough and the helpless position at that. So, and then, diba, another thought is, imagine also being the Ukrainian, being asked to defend your country. Won't you fight for your own freedom? Because you know what, guys, that's how it will be for us if any countries invade us. And right now we have one already, diba? In the, not just in the shadows, but already in our territories. So we don't have the problem is we don't have the military might nor the political will, right, to keep them off our territories and to protect our sovereignty. I think, you know, political will wise, the ship has sailed when we sold ourselves to China, diba? So, but seriously, right? I think it's something that you have to consider, diba? If and when this happens, aren't you also going to protect and fight for your country? Something for us to think about. That's why peace, I said, has no alternative. It's peace. Peace now, peace yesterday, peace every single day. So, diba, let's hope that we will never, that we will see that by tonight, diba, or in a few hours, the end of Russia's attack, right? And Putin is held accountable, of his vice presidents held accountable. I think Lavrov are both held accountable for that. So and let's also hope that the world come together and don't abandon, diba? Does not abandon and Ukraine altogether. That is also, I think, one of the saddest thing for me. That imagine abandoning them. No countries are coming forward except economic sanctions. Can you imagine? And President Zelensky already said, if that worked, how come I am still hearing missiles? Diba? Our skies are still raining. The skies are, we still see raining missiles coming in. And from the ground, diba, you will actually see his point. So I hope that really the world does not abandon Ukraine, right? We all have to, the countries, diba, have to step up to these bullies, right? There's unfortunately, it's not diba, them being bullies. It's not because that's just what I want to call them, but they created and carved that image for themselves, right? There's Russia, there's China, there's North Korea, and I don't know, maybe for the others it's US, but between, you know, these block, US, Russia, China, US, and North Korea versus US, I mean, I think we would be in safer hands with the US backing us, you know, as an ally. So anyway, so let's all pray for that. Let's all pray that the attacks will be done. Let's all pray that the world will not abandon Ukraine, because if they abandon Ukraine, that means they can also abandon us, right? So let's all pray also that no other countries will follow in the footsteps of the decisions and choices of Russia. So that's it. Speaking of sovereignty, guys, this brings me to my election key points. Diba? This is very, very important. You know, we have really very great contenders for president and vice president. Diba? And I've never seen such lineups ever since I was born 20 years ago. All right. And even from Senator Pacquiao to who else? To even BBM and Mayor Isko and also Senator Panfilo Lacson. Who else is running? I These are, I think, solid lineups, diba? I'm sorry. Also our pink leader, right? The leader of the pinks, President what's you know? Oh, Lenny, Vice President Lenny Robredo. So what I'm saying here is it's a very good solid lineup, right? And it's the first time I have seen this kind of presidentiables lined up all together. Kaya lang guys, 'di ba? So ito naman are the election tips that I would like to also impart with you, because the freedom of your country, the upliftment of lives will depend also on the leaders that you choose. We already know this. Okay? So I hope that the following concerns matter to you. So there's about 12 items that I listed that we must all consider, diba? When selecting both the two highest office in the lands and also our senatorial bits. So one, talking about sovereignty rights, defense, and security. Very important. So choose a candidate that's not gonna sell us out. Okay? Ang tawag ko dito ay hindi pwedeng short term, right? So choose that. We are not here to give up our territories, diba? And to be subjugated. It's already what we already did that. We already kicked out Spain, right? Who ruled us for 300 years. So it's our time to become independent. We are and should be always a solid independent state. Well, we also have to look for leaders who will. I know there's train law, diba? It's supposed to be good. Sa akin, ang good side doon is that anyone earning 150,000 and below does not have to be taxed anymore. That's good, but that's not realistic. Okay, taxation and salary, wages. We have to look into that, diba? Again, diba? If we can we have some taxation, debts, and wages. Those three things, because you cannot work on taxation and not worry about debts, and you cannot work on debts and without taxation behind, but we cannot do both without taking care also of the wages. Diba? So we have to also increase the quality of life. So hindi na pwedeng 537 ang minimum wage. Heck, those senators, congressmen, even the kagawad, the lowly, di ba, kagawad, they don't they don't live on minimum wage. I mean, maybe, right, di ba, by law, that's what they're getting paid for. But their life, in reality, if you compute everybody's needs, it's not a net of 25K or 30K. It's not. So we have to work on that, diba? We have to look at taxation further, diba? And so that I don't know, and stop borrow. I don't know, the borrowing. Can you imagine? That's what we're already thinking. Increasing taxation because of because our debt, especially this pandemic. We also have to look for someone very especially now in this pandemic, health, diba? What is our platform? So especially when we have non-vaxxers, diba? We have to look into that. How do we this pandemic has proved to us that not everyone is going to be supporting the government's programs to protect the individual. So we have to look into that, diba? Our health programs. We also special now education. I mean, I'm a teacher, all right, and as a teacher, it takes passion to create learning technologies, not just to parrot, 'di ba, whatever is in the textbook. It takes passion to make sure that nobody fails. 'Di ba? I think personally, it's my duty because no children was born stupid unless, of course, they have special needs, which it's not their fault, right? So my point here is we need to also raise the level of quality of teachers and education, diba? It's not quantity, it's quality. We also have to look at into their platform for economy and investments because we need that. So we can have not only wages, not only more jobs, but can also help raise the level of quality of life for all our workers, 'di ba? Kasi nga wala namang mabubuhay talaga sa 15,000 or 25,000 per month na neto, 'di ba? And also negosyo vis-a-vis or side by side employment, but also versus employment. We cannot rely anymore on just employment because it's not what we have to focus on is how everyone can have entrepreneurial ano ba, foundations, di ba? So that they can also uplift their lives. Kasi wala namang yumaman sa employment, konti lang. Also, science and technology, what is their platform? We need that now. We are now at the space age, right? And our technology is changing every day. Lahat tayo puro copycat pa. We need to really provide the quality of teachers now will this is where the quality of teachers come in also, 'di ba? So para makahabol naman tayo. That's why I think the science and technology is also the reason why we are it's so easy for us to just sell our sovereignty kasi we don't have nothing to, 'di ba? Wala tayong ganitong anything that can help wala science and technology that backs up our defense system and our security. We also have to look at environment and agriculture, so that has to be there. And then crimes, corruption, and peace and order. Hindi lang pwedeng crimes. And now the crimes are ever evolving, 'di ba? Ang dami ng cybersecurity, human trafficking, ibang level na ang kasamaan ng mga tao. So we all have to beef up on this. Corruption, also, although this is going to be a long term, sa akin, if you ask me, this is voluntary, di ba? People who will not be corrupt. So this is very behavioral. So parang if you ask me, it should be in the platform, but the highlight should be the others, di ba? The crimes and peace and order. Tapos someone who will dismantle and really set foot dynasties and monopolies, and then also crisis management. Who is good at that, especially nung pandemic? So these are the things that you should look at. Hindi pwedeng sa akin because for me, these had been the thread or the core sources of our political and social problems. Yan. Okay? So anyway, I hope you guys will really, 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 really value your vote. If you feel that there is someone there na next best, if not the best, diba? Because right now I'm telling you, we have really, for presidential especially, we have really great contenders. They're intelligent, right? They have experiences. And two of the contenders have very inspiring origin story, kumbaga, diba? From nothing to somebody. So these are all in terms of diba? So I have to choose in terms of character, in terms of abilities, in terms of platform, in terms of their also their what do you call that? Implementation of this, whether they were politicians or not. Yun ang pinaka-importante pa if you ask me. Okay? So sovereign rights, defense and security, taxation, debts and wages, health and education, economy, investments, negosyo, side by side, and also versus employment. science and technology, environment and agriculture, crisis management, very important, crimes, corruption, and peace and order, diba? Programs, dynasties, and monopolies, the implementation of dismantling them. Yun. I can't believe it. This word monopoly, I didn't think I would have it 50 years later. I grew up with this word, diba? The time that there was during the Marcos regime back in the 70s and 80s. And we thought it was gone, but you know what? Now we see it, diba? When telecom companies from other countries, let's say, want to set up a network here, diba? Who gets in their way? Diba? These other telco giants were already existing here and owned by one family, diba? Ganon. So right now, they can't even offer the best service. Mabagal nga yung internet ko kanina. Diba? So yun. So that's why we have to also dismantle. You can, diba? Parang too long, too much. So I wish I could say that you can just choose top 1 or top 5, diba? I wish you could say that the list just ends there. You may even have your own additional criteria that you want to list there. By all means, go ahead, diba? But these items I mentioned above, they are the ones that need attention and strengthening. I don't know who these candidates are mismo, right? Each one, we're not supposed to endorse anybody being in the media, but I hope that whoever you guys vote for will be somebody who is going to uphold these. And and for you guys, diba, who are voting also, may you also remember that the buck does not stop once your candidate gets chosen, or whether your candidate gets chosen or not. The citizens are still the higher number, so it's still up to us to also uphold any of those laws and peace and order that we also want in our midst. All right, so that is just my election tips PSA. I hope that after this election, diba, and the next 6 years after that, iba naman yung makita ko talaga. Iba naman. Ibang okay, not namang ibang palala. Ibang good na hopeful, something hopeful and now towards, diba, improvement. Okay, so anyway, for a lighter note, YOLO is on its way out. For Korea, at least. YOLO, guys, is short for you only live once, o diba? Now the term is God sang. That one is catching up in Korea, and it means, and I quote, a portmanteau or a combination of the word God and the sang meaning life. So God sang, diba? God sang is adopting simple and healthy habits so that one can live active, industrious lives. So if you ask me, diba, it's like baby steps for the young generation, diba? They started with YOLO because they didn't want to be pressured. Then they finally realized that you can't YOLO all the way, diba? You can't just chill. So finally, God sang is here. So step by step. So anyway, contrary to our generation, where after school we were expected to work, build a family, and try to succeed and survive, and majority is just on survival mode. So YOLO and God sang, though YOLO and God sang do not take into account aging and time. This is where the pressure or the bottleneck begins, when it's time to become self-independent, and then later on you find out that one should have started earlier. So that's just kind of the downside, diba? The lack of urgency has its serious consequences. I know because I came from there, but we never coined the term YOLO and God sang. I just woke up one day and then I was adulting. Nevertheless, though, maybe YOLO and God sang are going to be the new world order, diba? So even if we don't, even if I think, coming from our generation, that this is the generation that lacks a sense of urgency, I also have to set that thought aside, diba? Yung thought na bakit nung generation namin, ganito, iba talaga yung generation. I have to set that thought aside also, because these young generations also, on the strong side, most of the texts that we see today,
basically are from the younger generations combined, di ba? Millennials and Gen Z. So I'm wondering, right? And on that note, I am wondering, di ba, if I can still follow the God-sang lifestyle or culture at my age and given my life stage. Because you know what? Being a creator in this fast changing times of technologies, I think the one of the most exciting chapter or moment in our life that we can live in. So if they are the generation who makes things happen, right, compared to ours, I'm wondering if I could still dip my white hair into that godsend culture. Anyway, one day at a time. What If I want to do that, right? So that is, I think, the best partner for God sing. Oh, that one day at a time, right? If I want to go God sing, do you get me? Do you guys want to go God sing? If you want to go God sing, right? You'll have what do you call that? Healthy habits, adopting simple and healthy habits so that you can have an active, industrious life, right? If you want to do that and you are my age, I think the best that we can do is taking it one day at a time. So let me come up with my own program. But I already have. I gotta do that. I think God sang and all that, ODAT, are a perfect match. Anyway, so speaking of Korea, guys, I highly recommend you guys see Take Off at Netflix. So it's a heartwarming true story of how Korea, with a team of 5 and their team coach, landed their country in the ski jump Olympics competition. They didn't have that. So this is so Take Off is about the first time that they ever qualified, right? For this for the Olympic ski jump in the Olympics. So I thought it was just a copycat of Eddie the Eagle. So this is another story of an English ski jumper, another success story, another inspiring story also. But it wasn't. The athletes in Takeoff were already ski jumpers to begin with. But what makes their story to the Olympics more inspiring is the backstory of each one. Iba talaga magawa ng kwento ang Korea. So I expected this to be just one of those comedy movies, but it was far from it. It reminds me what it is to be Korean in attitude, in our life, and in our goals. So if there's one thing that I really envy with them, it is their hashtag fighting spirit. So guys, watch it. You know, people laugh when I say that I watch K-drama, and I remember I also used to laugh at people who used to started watching K-drama before I did. And world one, because to those who used to watch K-drama are those who used to watch the local telenovelas, which to me, I really find it does not it belittles our mind, diba? It does not educate us. It doesn't inspire us to become better or anything like that. Walang ganon. Compared to if you were watching a K-drama. So that's why I never watch. I'm sorry, that is, I apologize, diba? But then when my sister started bugging me because her daughter saw Chloe, I really had, it really turned my mind around because for one thing, K-drama writers are 180 degrees different from the telenovela stories that we have here. The writers, oh my God, ibang klase talaga. So that's why when I recommend Korea K-drama here or K-movie here, I'm coming from someone watching a story of someone who's educated and who wants to and who's coming from someone who admires the values and culture that I hope that we had in ours, diba? So ganun naman eh. When you go to other countries, you see the things that sana meron kaming ganito. Sana meron kaming ganito. So hopefully we can adopt this. And that's what makes the K-drama and K-movies really lovable and admirable. So ayun, so panoorin yan. Take Off. Yun. All right. So anyway, now moving on to our convo. It is the last Saturday of Feb Big Month. Thus, I will go all out for love. Okay. I will still be sharing my experiences on how we have upheld our bond through the years. Nakalagay lang dito year. So if you also want a solid relationship, maybe you can, whatever I share here, maybe you can also pick a thing or two. Okay. So here, I think that it comes natural for women to be more thoughtful in the relationship arena. Diba? So when it comes to relationship, talagang mas thoughtful ang mga babae. While for men, it comes naturally for men naman to provide, to work. Men are simplistic in their thinking, diba? They just work, provide, come home, rest, unwind, sleep. That's it. While women, we tend to multitask our roles. We tend to multitask our roles, our responsibilities, our wants, our needs. And the funny thing that I find here while I was writing this is we are both given naman 24 hours, but for some reason, women get to stretch the seconds into, get to stretch the seconds into 3 done things. So, ganun yung difference, okay? So, no wonder we're so tired and we are so needy at the end of the day. Look at the men. They're also tired, di ba? But they're not as naggy, I guess. Are your men naggy? I hope not. Anyway, that being said, it comes naturally for us women to want to make the relationship flourish. Diba kasi nga tayong mas thoughtful in the relationship. Men want that too, but their relationship happiness metric is different and simplistic. Okay, it's not complicated. They can't. So for me, they can't be faulted for that kasi wiring yun eh. And same way that our wiring, we cannot also be faulted for our wiring when it comes to love and relationship as well. Okay, I think that is our strength. So now, women, if you have a partner who is not a thoughtful, sweet surpriser, but who is faithful and expresses his love in a language that makes you happy, rejoice. Okay? If you want something more, don't ask them to change just because you can't. There's a language of love that's missing. Diba? Get them instead to agree. O, diba? Ang ganda nun, advice na yun. That way, you avoid the unnecessary wildfire drama of a wounded, needy, unhealthy love. Okay? I remember when I was really young, diba? And I had my own boyfriend, when I was in a relationship, parang I felt unloved pag hindi lang ako na pag may naiba lang. Diba? Pag naiba lang na suddenly hindi na nag-I love you or whatever like that. Or pagka naging busy lang, let's say, athlete pala. Diba? And then they have practice. Feeling ko wala na ako ng oras. So we all have that. Diba? We all have that neediness. But I tell you that neediness and clinginess, they are relationship killers. Diba? So, but I remember my neediness and clinginess because also, ano tawag? Are related to having unrealistic expectations also from our partner, diba? And also from our relationship. So that's when it can lead to a problem. So we will, what happens is we demand, diba, that they should be like this. Because that's how we want, that's how our idea of being loved is, or that is our idea of romantic love or love itself, diba? So for me, now that I'm married, my husband is not the I love you type, diba? That's why I tell you nga, I ask him 10 times to tell me he loves me and then he's good for a year, diba? I gotta be practical. Don't get him to change. I got him to agree. Or he does it, diba? So pag umiyan, 5, I love you, he will do it, diba? Kasi hindi ko naman siya hinihingi everyday. Whereas compared to maybe when I was younger, that's already going to be a big fight. Kasi expectation ko is that partner should be loving and thoughtful and sweet and affectionate at hindi na dapat hinga ng mga affections. Dapat it should come naturally. That's the problem. So that's where the demand comes in, di ba? So don't ask them to change, get them to agree instead. So for the longest time, if I left it, guys, to my hubby, our dates would only be in groceries or department stores. Okay? Or worse, now with the pandemic, Lazada or Shopee. Nawala pa. It's just a click of a finger. So anyway, we don't do dinner dates. We're not that type as seen in rom-coms, diba? Or nor are we spontaneous. Even then, we were not. So we're kind of just laid back. Simple lang yung choice namin to have a home, to be together. That's it. And another reason is because we get the reason why we also don't go out on dinner dates because we get to cook the food that we want to eat at restaurants. So we're not excited to dinner date too, unless of course we crave this and we don't have the ingredients or talagang, di ba, it's really a planned date. So we're not like that. But the problem there though is the problem here, di ba, with that situation, a person changes as we age. If they're not changing, we discover more a part of them, di ba, a part of their personality, their interest as we go along, di ba? Nandun pala yon. Di ba? Like me and my husband, my husband knows that I love to read, di ba? I know that he doesn't love to read. Now, nasa-discover ko, he really doesn't love to read. Gusto lang niya YouTube, yung pang-unwind niya or mag-gitara. That's it. Di ba? So now that we are more together and as years come, that's even more pronounced, diba? So that's a big difference. Sa akin, parang how can we talk about, walang parang shared interest, diba? But to me, I did not make that a problem. So, but that's my point. We discover the differences as we go on together. And when we see, and the problem here is, if you are not a secure person, it may be interpreted as growing apart, diba? And which is a common reason for separation and divorce. Yan yung major reason in all separation and divorce kasi growing apart. So what we have to remember is there are going to be lulls in our relationships. I know I have mine. It's very important to see it as just, okay, here's the tip. It's very important to see that lull is just one of the process and even a progress point. It's not a give up point or a complaining point or a whining point, okay? Again, let me stress, at least one. So if your husband is, okay, for as long as, ito pala, let me emphasize, for as long as love is there naman, di ba? Hindi lang sweet, hindi lang affectionate, magkaiba pala kayo, di ba? Pero love is there. That lull can be fixed, okay? It only takes one person to put an effort, okay? So here are my takes on how to overcome that, di ba? That lull, and solidify the bond together and even further. One, ito yung ginagawa ko, calendar. Ahead of time, I plug in a yearly calendar or monthly calendar, our extra special dates. Diba? Extra special because it's either something big, road trips, vacations, or even home improvement to make up for, diba? But and then that will be also of interest to him. And he loves, he likes driving. He also doesn't mind the staycations or okay. So special dates like road trips, staycations, or even home improvement, o diba? Making a wall beautiful together, diba? Improving that wall and putting something there, pwede yun. Or personal projects. So when I talk about it with my hubby, I don't talk about specific dates. On this date, we're going out or like that. No. But I talk to him about the themes. O this week, ito lang ang gagawin natin. So kunwari, gagawin lang namin date sa lahat ng kumuha ng lahat ng mga government IDs. Renewal passport. That's it. Diba? So he agrees. Diba? Hindi siya So I think for men, kasi the less detail, the more that they understand or welcome and digest, diba? Mentally. So ngayon, in our case, diba, to more examples, our calendars can consist of home improvement projects. So kunwari, I'll tell him, I want, let's say, to paint the wall in our other unit, diba? In this other unit. So we will now, ang week namin will be parang, let's just watch YouTube of house and home this week. And then let's look for concepts and ideas. And then there we talk. And then while we're watching, we're already talking about the color palettes and also we get to, again, diba, agree without friction, diba, on the second level, kasi the first one is to agree on what's going to happen for that week, diba? And then the following week, I said, this week we can go to, why don't we visit Wilcon or Home Depot? Again, it's just the calendar of the week. It's not when or what, or it's some, diba, parang hindi siya things to do. And then at the same time, the second level is he loves going on, di ba may nga kami sa grocery, di ba? So home improvements is a very interesting, it's a very interesting area for the men because I think of the drills. Kami because of the decors or something like that. So agree. I didn't have to force anything on him. So the following week, we'll now talk about maybe do something else. Diba? Maybe we'll have this week we're going to have buffet. Why don't we go to what hotel ba? Let's say Shangri-La, Makati. Sarado na siya. So ganun, diba? Let's have breakfast lang there. Let's just date or what. Ganon. So that week, it's just like that. So I didn't have to force it, diba? Or demand it. I just got him to agree. Parang ano yun? Get them parang to agree lang. Diba? Get them to agree without change. I didn't have to change him by forcing him in what I want or in the method that I want. I just got him to agree in something. I just got him to agree instead. Pero wala akong binago sa kanya, di ba? Kasi it's a weekly schedule, hindi yung Monday, Tuesday, walang ganun. Hindi siya TTD. You understand? So you can do the same. Okay? You can do the same. So parang you can make a monthly calendar about this is the week for like that. Don't put I guess it also helps that you don't put everything in 1 week. So parang that whole week is just for like this, since it is supposed to be for a bonding, diba? Bonding or solidifying your relationship pa. So hindi siya pwedeng things to do or, you understand? Next, taking turns. We all have roles to fulfill in our household, diba? My hubby is pretty much in charge of the cooking since somehow that became his role. So, but cooking can be tedious and tiring, and anything that is so repetitive also gets boring, and then we end up hating it. I know because I really hate cooking, diba? And since I see my hubby also reaching that point, what I do is I prepare the menu 1 week in advance, and in a way that I also have a cooking turn. Diba? So I will cook food that's good for 2 to 3 days since we pretty much have to prepare 14 meals, lunch and dinner. Walang nagbe-breakfast namin. So 14 meals. So what I do is at least kino-combine ko yun. My food order at least one time. Diba? At least for our kids. Or tas kami kung ano na lang yun nandyan kasi malaki na kami. Literally. Figuratively. So anyway, so ganon. So I insert there my time. So he gets to also parang use those extra hours na nawala sa kanya to do whatever he wants. Diba? So what I do pa is I insert there my cooking time, diba? Good for 2 days, 2 days the meal, and then I also on the days that kumaga ilang dinner yon, 4 dinner meals, and then may isang order. Tapos i-include ko din doon if ever he's going to cook, isa lang or dalawa lang ang lulutuin niyang mahirap or isa na lang, and then the rest of his cooking time will be just really simple meals lang. Ganun. So this one, so in a lot of ways, diba, yung tediousness and from the repetitive process, diba, the hassle of it, diba, having to do something over and over again, I get to cut that in at least, kung hindi half, at least 80% or 60%, diba? 60%. And that is something, parang, that showed my husband, and I explained that to him, basta ayoko may I tell him this, kasi we talk about the menu di ba? Kasi I don't want to be asked. Ako naman, I don't want to be asked again. So I prepare it and I put it on the meal. Then kahit na Monday to Friday yan, bahala ka na how you're gonna, which one, kahit it doesn't have to be na masusunod ng that day itself. Bahala ka na when, basta ganito. Bahala na kami when, basta ganito. Basta maluto siya. So anyway, because my husband sees that effort na I'll be cooking here, so ganito, ganyan, he gets to appreciate it, diba? So nangyayari tuloy, when I'm going to cook na, diba, he steps up and says, don't na, I'll be the one to cook, o diba? So ano yung gusto mo? That shows, diba, even if I really ask him, are you sure? And of course, he says yes. And of course, I say okay. But the thing is, yun nga, taking turns. It's not only like that. So, kunwari, it's not only in the cooking of meals. So kunwari for me, since I'm the planner, diba? I really make a kunwari, plan good for plan every single week. So what I do is I choose a week where siya naman yung gagawa nung one or two of the items there. Tapos ako naman yung parang may relax week din ako. So we take turns. So siya yung gagawa ng stuff na gagawin ko. Then aayusin ko yung other schedule so that the other schedule gets still, the other daily things to do get done pa rin. And which is just pretty much the cooking and the washing of the dishes, di ba? So yun, may ganun din. So we take turns. And the fact that my husband also steps up, di ba? On that week that this week, pwedeng ikaw yung ganito. He also understands kasi galing naman ako sa sunod-sunod na week na ako naman ang gumagawa lang, I never asked him. So you just take things and because there is a mindful and a collaborative effort, 'di ba? And hindi lang ako yung nagagawa ng plan, he knows what's going on kahit na he doesn't have to know all the details, but he knows how it's being done so that he also gets his pagod also gets recognized, his efforts also gets recognized and appreciated. He gives it back then. So, because of that, di ba, pareho kami appreciation on both ends. We are more appreciative and bonded together. We are more bonded pa. O, di ba? Ang ganda. How many of you would like to have that kind of relationship where even if you're already volunteering to take away that extra work from that workload from your husband will still just say, never mind, I can do it na. Diba? So, yun. Then ito, 3, meals on bed. O, diba? This is surprisingly one of the most bond-forming activity for us. You know, we have a small place. I don't like big places kasi. I don't like a big home kasi ako nga yung maglilinis. So, we're like Koreans. Our unit is also the bedroom, the living room, the workroom, and the dining room. So there was a time that the dining table had all my work kalat. So we would eat on the bed because we have these folding tables, like Koreans. So later on, though, I already cleaned the dining table and we started eating back on the dining table. Di ba? But it was not the same. Parang you were eating mechanically. We were finishing foods after we brought it up to the kitchen and that's it. So, but one time, di ba, I don't know. One time we had breakfast in bed. And since it was in front of our parang a TV and it was on the bed, diba? Doon kasi kami nagbabanding ng movie marathon. I noticed we were not eating mechanically. Meron kaming shared experience, diba? And that's what I liked about it. And I suppose because it was diba, all that we do together, diba, trifecta ng movie, comfort, and food, it gave us that feeling of connectedness. Diba? Yun nga, from that shared experience. So, sa akin, guys, I know some of you might not might have very strict policy on not eating in the bedroom, diba? But you don't have to do this. You can do this with the kids. Together with the kids, you guys eat together in the bedroom and watch a movie, or just you and your husband early Sunday, the minute you wake up Sunday morning, diba? If you're not doing anything, wala naman kayong schedule, or maybe Saturday, or even dinner, Saturday dinner or Friday night dinner, you know, when you're winding the week, do that, diba? Because, tawag dito, okay, one of you, diba? Your husband might not like it, pero again, the goal is just get him to agree. Diba? You just say, how do you do that? You don't have to do it every day. Can we bond and have dinner like this, breakfast in bed? So I'm sure, diba, it's nothing, hindi siya, it will not, it's not going to be an issue. And I hope not. Diba? Pag naging issue yan, oh wow, I think you guys need counseling kasi sa maliit na bagay palang issue na. What more sa malaking bagay pa. Diba? Pero what I'm just saying is yun. So if it's not breakfast in bed, what is that? Diba? What is that thing that you can have a shared experience that you can do regularly together, or you can just invite your partner to just do that, diba? Spur of the moment. So like my husband, if you don't have plans to have meals on bed, say, Han, can we eat in the bed? Oh, di man mahirap. So ayun, can we watch a movie together in the bed? Oh, Did I demand or did I change him? No, I just got him to agree. And I got him to agree because it's something, movies, something that he likes. He may not like eating in the bed, but he likes the thought that we will be, bonding. Diba? So yun. All right. So there's nothing more fulfilling, guys, than having that reassured feeling and bond of a good, solid, loving relationship. Okay? Having good and simple techniques to keep feeding the love and bond in an effortless manner is what love is also about. Parang mali, ano? But anyway, and it is also what we signed up for in the first place. So as I write this episode, di ba, nung sinusulat ko tong words na to, I'm reminded, okay, of my own recent brunch in bed this morning and also our Valentine's, diba? And my just going through it, just seeing it in my head while typing that, diba? My eyes sparkled and my heart feels warm. If that is not love, I don't know what is. Okay? So anyway, guys, relationship is work. Okay? True. But it is also smart work. Don't let your woundedness, your clinginess, let me just change that spelling. Your clinginess, your neediness, blur the way to being in love or loved every day by your partner. Okay? It is nice to be in charge of your emotions so you can truly benefit from healthy feelings that can be like the fertilizer of your love and your bond. So, tawag dito. This ends pretty much our Feb Ibig series. And I hope that you guys have picked up a thing or two. Diba, I said I only share the things here that I have, ito yung mga best practices ko. Diba? Because I like walk the talk. So that you guys can learn, diba? I talked about, especially from the second week of February, I've already magaganda na yung mga topics natin. So what else? I hope also, of course, that you will not parang think that having a relationship is a fairy tale or a happily ever after. It's not, but if we are both, if one of you is smart to recognize that, diba? It can be. So, marami pa akong best practices, pero so far, ito lang yung naiisip ko. And I always, my reference point always is how my husband responds to me, diba? Is he boorish? Is he nasty? Nakasigaw ba siya? Is he gnarly all the time, 24/7? Because, tawag dito, if none of those are present, diba? None of those are present, that means that we have, that's my like cue. That's my cue in having a solid relationship. Okay? So kayo, if you're operating from a gnarly partner, diba? An angry partner all the time. I'm not sure, this may not be the things that I have talked about here from for the whole Feb Ibig Love series talks. I'm not sure if this will already be, if you can start from here. You may have to backtrack even more, diba, before you can, but you can already supplement them with all the things that I have shared here in the show in the last few weeks. So yon, okay? So I'm hoping that you guys learned something here, picked up a thing or two on how you could also solidify your relationship and your love all together. Okay? So anyway, it's 7:59 and that ends our show for today. It's a wrap. Love is not easy, but if with smart work, we can also it can also guide us towards having healthy feelings that can be the fuel or the fertilizer of our love and bond. All right. So this is Francine. Again, liberty and life for Ukraine. Peace out. See you next Saturday. Truly, from my heart, an honest to goodness, good night to everyone, especially in Ukraine. Thank you very much and see you again next Saturday.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those